Martio here. Welcome to Marathon Wednesday. Today we do the big catalogues, and today is another viewer's request, and someone asked me to do Bruce Springsteen. So that is what we're going to do today. Bruce Frederick Joseph Springsteen was born 23rd of September 1949. American singer, songwriter, musician. He's made 20 albums. Many feature his backing band, the E Street Band. He's from Jersey, the Jersey Shore. His career has now spanned 6 decades, which is pretty amazing. I mean, he's been known for his poetic and social consciousness lyrics. Obviously, his nickname's the Boss. I think there's in a generation we have you have a songwriter. The '60s had Bob Dylan, and to me, this is Springsteen is sort of my generation's Bob Dylan. I've got all their albums. I'm a big fan. Some songs I don't like, some I do. So I think we all depends what sort of style we like of Bruce. It all depends on which our favourite albums are. There's only one I'm particularly not keen on, but most of them I really like and enjoy. There's certain albums I put on when I'm in certain moods of Bruce. So we got 20, so we will crack on, as they say. So here we go then. Coming in at number 20, we have the 14th album, released in 2006, and it is We Shall Overcome, the Seeger Sessions. As with this album was his only album that's got no of his own material. It's interpretation of folk songs by activist folk musician Pete Seeger. Loads of people on this, too many to mention, so all we know that Bruce sings and plays guitar. To be quite honest, I am not a big fan of Pete Seeger. I just don't like this sort of American folk music, because it really is a rip-off of Irish and Scottish folk music, in my opinion. So I'll just go through the tracks, because there's none here I really don't like, and I very rarely play this album. Old Dan Tucker, Jesse James. One of the songs I actually like on the album was about Jesse James, of course. Mrs. McGrath, Oh Mary Don't You Weep, John Henry, Jacob's Lagada, My Oklahoma Home, Eyes on the Prize, Shenandoah, Pay Me My Money Down, We Shall Overcome, Froggy When a Courting. I remember this song as a child, but I'm not keen on this version. As I said, this is an album I rarely listen to. It's an album that just does nothing for me. So I'm going to give this an RTO ranking of 2 out of 10. I know there's a lot of people out there that may like it, especially some of my American friends, but for me it's just a none sort of album. Okay, then coming in at number 19, we get a 1999 now, 95, sorry. It's the 11th album, and it's his second acoustic album, The Ghost of Tom Joad. Again, lots of people play on here, so we'll go straight into the tracks. The Ghost of Tom Joad. I like this song, I really do, but the harmonica on it just sounds like a whining cat. That's the only thing I don't like about it. Some of on these acoustic, the harmonica sounds like a whining cat. Straight Time. It's a nice track, very pleasant to listen to. Highway 29, great song. I just love the words to this and the story. Really strong song. Youngstown, I like again the story behind this one. Really good song. Then we got Sonola Cowboys, one of my favourites on the album. In fact, this is my favourite on this one. I just love this. It's the lyric content. It's just telling stories about cowboys. The line. This just sounds a little bit generic, guitar. I don't know. I just don't get on with that one. Balboa Park. Again, very pleasant track. Dry Lightning. It's got a little bit more to this one. There's a bit of keyboard in it. It's got a little bit more depth, which makes this a really nice song. The New Timer, it's alright. Unfortunately, I think Bruce sounded a little bit whiny on that one. Across the Border. Now, as you know, I like songs that have got violin. I mean, I like Kansas and ELO, but this violin on here doesn't sound right. It really grates on me. Then we get Galveston Boy. It's pretty good. My Best was Never Good Enough. I like the it's about a childhood story, and I like the quote from Forrest Gump, life is like a box of chocolates, you don't know what you're going to get. This album's okay. I must admit, this is my only opinion, I do tend to find the acoustic albums of Bruce Springsteen a bit monotonous in places. I'm not really into the acoustic Bruce Springsteen personally, but there are some really good songs on here, and I do like the stories they tell. So I'm going to give this one an RTO ranking of 5 out of 10. Okay, then, coming in at number 18, we get the 13th album released in 2005, Devils and Dust. It's the third acoustic album. First track is the title track, Devils and Dust. I like this track. I think it's got some nice strings in it. It really is a nice song. All the Way Home. Now, for an acoustic track, this is quite heavy. It's a sort of heavy acoustic number. I really like that one. Reno, it's pleasant enough. Nothing special about it. Long Time Coming. Again, it's just nothing wrong with it. It's just an acoustic track. Black Cowboys. Again, I love this. My favourite track on the album. I just love the story about cowboys and all that sort of thing, so I do like that one. Maria's Bed, upbeat song, nothing wrong with it. Silver Pomelo, or Pomimo, I'm not very good at pronouncing some of these words still. Very pleasant song, nice words. Jesus Was an Only Son, bit religious, but it's alright. Leah, it's a pleasant song, nothing special. The Hitter, it's a little bit long for an acoustic song. 5 minutes 53 for an acoustic song. After about 2.5 minutes to 3 minutes, I just lose interest with that one. It just gets a bit dull and boring and a bit monotonous. All I'm thinking about, a real country song, but it's pretty good. And then Matrimonious Banks, just an ordinary track. Another acoustic album. I think this one's a little better than Tom Joad. There's a few more instruments. It's pleasant enough, but it's not my thing. But there are some good songs on, especially ones about the cowboys, and the stories are still good. So I'm going to give this one an RTO ranking of 5.5. Okay, then, coming in at number 17. Get to the 19th album now, released in 2019, Western Stars. Again, a host of people play on it. First track is called Hitchhiking. Good track, like that one. Nice upbeat song, good start to the album. The Wayfarer, this is a nice Mexican cowboy sort of song. Some nice horns on it, really, really good. Two-Scon Train, like this. Lots of strings on this. Good song, like that one. Western Stars, my favourite track. Again, it's got a story of cowboys. Anything to do with cowboys on there. It's a really good song. Sleepy Joe's Cafe. I like the bass line on this. You got, I don't know if it's a banjo or ukulele in it. A bit of accordion in there. It's not a bad track. Drive Fast, the Stuntman. One of my favourite tracks on the album. I just like the piano arrangement on this one. Really, really good. Then we get Chasing Wild Horses. Again, a little bit too long. It goes round in circles. It doesn't know when to finish, really. Sundown, really upbeat song. Good vocal from Bruce. Excellent little track. Somewhere North of Nashville. This is very short acoustic, but it's got some nice piano in it. Really good song. Stones. Just a nice track. Excuse me. There Goes My Miracle. Again, pleasant enough track. Hello Sunshine. That's a country sort of thing and a country song, and I don't like that sort of style of country, not for me. And then we get Moonlit Motel. Not bad at all. Yeah, mixed bag album here. We've got some really good songs on here. It is a hit and miss an album. It's not one I automatically go to when I listen to Bruce Springsteen, but when I do put it on, I do enjoy it. So I'm going to give it an RTO ranking of 6 out of 10. Okay, then coming in at number 16, we're going to the 6th album now. Released in 1982, and it's Nebraska. This album, these are just demos that he was intending to record with the E Street Band, of course, but someone decided to release them as they were. Personally, I'd have liked to have heard them with the E Street Band. The only person on here is Bruce Springsteen. Now, this acoustic album isn't too bad. Opening track is Nebraska. Very interesting song to open about. It's about someone being condemned to put to death. Yeah. Atlantic City. Nice vocal from Bruce on that. Really is a good track. Mansion on the Hill. Got that whiny harmonica. I mean, I love the harmonica, but for some reason on Bruce Springsteen acoustic stuff, it just sounds whiny. Then we get Johnny 99. My favourite track on here. Again, it's one of them classic Bruce Springsteen stories. Love the story behind that one. Highway Patrolman, another good song. It's a long song, but I for some reason it really does tell a story. That's why I think I like it. State Trooper, an acoustic rocker as I call this. I like that track. Used Cars isn't a bad track either. Open Up All Night. Electronic acoustic song. Nice little rock sort of beat track for it. My Father's House, a really moving song, really nice words. And then Reason to Believe, upbeat song. I think this is the best Bruce Springsteen acoustic album. It was his first one. Never intended to be an acoustic album. I think that's what I like about this as well. They're demos, so they're a little bit raw. Just put the down tracks and record. I just wonder what these songs would have sounded like if it had been a proper bound album. But out of the three, I do tend to listen to this one more than the other two, so I'm going to give this an RTO ranking of 6.5. Okay then, coming in at number 15. We'll go to 1987 now, and the 8th album, Tunnel of Love. Some of the E Street Band are on here. I think Clarence is on it. I think Max plays on it a few bits, but most of it is Bruce Springsteen with a drum machine. Yeah. Bruce Springsteen and a drum machine just doesn't go, does it? Okay then, the first track is called Ain't Got You. Love this. Now this is one of the tracks that the harmonica really works. It's a catchy little number and I like that one a lot. Tougher Than the Rest. Love this. Nice gentle song. Really nice. Then we get All That Heaven Will Allow. It's okay. Nice gentle song. Spare Parts even. Good track. I love the acoustic again and the harmonica. They work well on this. Really good track. Cautious Man, sort of an acoustic track with a bit of orchestral stuff in it. Walk Like a Man. Nice track. Got a little bit of oomph with it. Really good. Tunnel of Love. Love this track. Love the guitar solo on that. And Two Faces. The arrangement of this song is really good, and I love the keyboard, that sort of Hammond sound, really good. Brilliant Disguise, love this track as well, just like the melody. One Step, probably the weakest track on the album. When You're Alone, that's a good song as well. And Valentine's Day, a little bit of a country song, but very, very nice. Yeah, mixed bag album again. It's got some nice tracks on here. I don't play this very often, but again, it's one of them albums that when I do get it out and I put it on, I go, God, yeah, this isn't a bad album. And I'm going to give this one an RTO ranking of 6.8. Okay, then coming in at number 14, we get the 12th album released in 2002, The Rising. And this was the first album in 7 years from Bruce Springsteen, and it's the first time he'd worked with the E Street Band in 18 years. So on here we get Bruce Springsteen, Roy Bittan, Clarence Clemens, Danny Federici, Niels Lofgren, Patti Scaffat, his wife, can never pronounce her name, Gary Talent, Steve Van Zandt, and the brilliant Max Weinberg. First track, Lonesome Day. Classic sounding Bruce and the E Street. Nice to hear them back together on this track. Again, the drumming for Max, spot on. Into the Fire, not a particular favourite on me. It's a bit weird. Waiting on a Sunny Day. Nice little rocker from the lads. The E Street Band on fire on that one. Nothing Man. Okay, Drake, solid. Great musicians, the E Street Band. Counting on a Miracle. This starts a little bit quiet, and you think, come on, I hope this track builds up. It does, and you get a really good track, and the violin sounds brilliant on this. Really good track. Empty Sky. A nice song again. Bruce Springsteen sounds great on this. The harmonica works on this one. I think it's because he's got more of the band behind it and it doesn't sound so whiny. Then we get Worlds Apart. I love this track. Catchy melody. Love the backing vocals. And Steve Van Zandt's guitar solo is really good as well. My favourite track on the album, actually. Let's Be Friends. Skin to Skin. It's just one of them catchy songs from Bruce and the E Street Band. The piano, the keyboard, it just sounds really great. Good track. Further On, Up the Road. One of my favourite songs on this album. Nice little track that is. Then we get The Fuse. Bit of a filler track on here. Not particularly fond of that one. Again, Mary's Place, little bit of filler here. Not particularly interested in that one. You're Missing. I'm afraid this is very dreary. It's one of my least favourite songs ever by Bruce Springsteen. I've never really got into this. The Rising, though, is great. Another good track. I love the harmonies on that. Really good. Paradise, not too bad. My City of Ruins, nice arrangement. Love the guitars on this, really good. This is quite a long album, 15 tracks. I think it's about 4 too many, but on the whole, it's a good album. Would to see the E Street Band back with Bruce. So I'm going to give this one an RTO ranking of 7 out of 10. Time for a sip of coffee. It's very clammy. It's not brilliant sunshine today, but it's 20 degrees already. That's better. So coming in at number 13, we've got the 15th album released in 2007, and it's Magic. And again, it's the first album with the E Street Band since The Rising. So we've got Bruce, Roy, Clarence, Danny, Niels, Patty, Gary, Steve Van Zandt and Max Weinberg. Opens up with one of my favourite tracks by Bruce, Radio Nowhere. Love this track, brilliant song. Love the beat to it. It's a very catchy tune. Then we get You'll Be Coming Down. Love the opening riff. The bass line from Gary Tallent is brilliant on this. Living in the Future. The sax from Clarence is brilliant. I love Clarence. Sadly no longer with us, but what a fine sax player he was. Your Own Worst Enemy, solid track. Love the melody on this. Max drums really sort of keep the song going. Gypsy Biker, another good track. The harmonica on this again sounds really good. Girls in Their Summer Clothes, really nice track. The strings really add to this with that acoustic guitar. Very, very good track. I'll Work for Your Love, a typical start to a Bruce Springsteen track with the piano, and then it goes into that really nice sound that the E Street Band are famous for. Really good. Magic, the title track, a little bit different here. It's got a little few different sounds, and then you get the more traditional E Street Band sound. Last Day, a little bit again. It's the opening riff and the piano. It just, and that lovely bass line. That's what I do like about Bruce and the E Street. They all come in at different places, but they all seem to click straight away. Really good track. Long Walk Home. This is quite Bon Jovi, but it's a really good track. Devil's Arcade. It's not too bad. And then we get Terry's song, probably the weakest track on the album. It's got that whiny harmonica. Very good album. I listened to this one quite a lot. Of one of the modern day, what I call the modern Bruce Springsteen. Really like this album. So I'm going to give this one an RTO ranking of 7.4. Okay then, coming in at number 12. We go to the 18th album now, released in 2014. High Hopes. Loads of people play on this. Opens up with the title track, High Hopes. Love the guitar on this. Wow wow, the wah wah at the beginning, really good. Nice track. Harry's Place. Guitar effects again on this are terrific. Great little rocker. Then we get a really moving song, American Skin, 41 Shots. Great track, but the best version of this is the live version. It's so moving. It's a really good track. I really like that one. Just Like Firewood. Nice crisp track. Really crisp guitar work on this. Really, really nice. Down in the Hole. Great track. I love the keyboards on this one. It adds such atmosphere. And even the violins give it even more atmosphere. Fantastic little track that is. Heaven's Wall. Very catchy track. The beginning's a little bit suspect, but once you get into it, it's a solid track. Frankie Fell in Love, one of the little stories, and the lyrics are good, but I'm not very keen on the song itself. This Is Your Sword. It's a so folky song, and I don't like it. Hunter of the Invisible Game, nice slower track, except towards the end it does meander. Then we get a more electric version. Remember the Ghost of Tom Joad. I like the acoustic version, I think it's good, but this is how it's really supposed to sound. I think this is the best version, it's really good. The Wall, then we get, which is a slower track. Really, really good track. Dream Baby Dream, not a fan of this one, bit boring. Okay, yeah, strong album again. On the whole, it has got some tracks I'm not keen on, but on the whole I really like listening to this one, and I'm going to give this an RTO ranking of 7.5. Okay, got to number 11, 17th album from 2012, Wrecking Ball. Opens up where we take care of our own. A great little opener from Bruce. The drums on this are brilliant. It's a great little rock track. Love that track. Easy Money. It's done on a drum machine, but it's not a bad track actually. I don't mind that one at all. Shackled and Drawn. Sounds like a bit of a busking track, you know, stand outside a bar or something on the corner of the street. Really good. Jack of All Trades. Nice song, but just too long. After about three and a half, 4 minutes, it just meanders. Death to My Own Town. I don't like it. I don't like it when he tries and sings Celtic rock, folk. I just don't think he's got the right voice for it. This Depression, great piano on this, and solo, really good track. Wrecking Ball, this sounds like a classic track from Bruce. Brilliant track. Love the drumming on this. The violin sounds good. Really strong track. You've Got It. Great guitar on this. Nice piano work. Solid track. Rocky Ground. Don't like that one. There's just something about it. It doesn't sound. Drum Machines and Fiddles. Nah, this doesn't go. Land of Hope and Dreams. It's too long. Too long. It's nearly 7 minutes. Again, after about 4 minutes, it sort of falls apart. And then we got We're Alive. It's American folk, country folk, and I just can't get into it. Really good album, Places, but we've got some of this American folk, and as I said, you know, no disrespect. I just don't go into it. It just hasn't got the same appeal as Scottish or Irish folk. That's just my opinion. I think it's probably because I'm British and I've got Celtic ancestors. I just don't know. But on the whole, this is a super album, and I'll give this an RTO ranking of 8 or a 10. Okay then, coming in at number 10. Got the 16th album from 2009, Working on a Dream. These three banged the back. So we got Bruce, Roy, Clarence, Danny, Niels, Patty, Gary and Stephen and Max again. First track, 8, Outlaw Pete. One of my favourite tracks by Bruce Springsteen. The story is brilliant, and although it's a long song, this is one of the long songs that works because the lyrics are good. And you just really want to see how this story ends. So the length of it is really good. It's a really good track. My lucky day, one of these songs, I just wish it didn't have violin on it. That spoils it. Working on a Dream, love this track. Like the melody, nice uplifting track, really gets to you. Queen of the Supermarket, I just love this song. I just love the lyric content, you know, meeting with that checkout girl every day. It's just a lovely little song. What Love Can Do, really nice riff in this. The acoustic guitar on this sounds great. Love that track. This Life, that keyboard piece in the middle of this is very 70s rock keyboard, and I really like it. Good Eye, love this track. Everything seems to fit, even the harmonica. That's really, really good. Tomorrow Never Knows. This is a song that's got a bit of a shuffle to it. Really good hook, gets your feet tapping, excellent. Life Itself, great song. One of Bruce's strongest vocals from his later part of his career. Strong track. Kingdom of Days, a little bit flat. I don't know. I suppose, you know, as Bruce gets older, his voice has changed. He just sounds a bit flat, but what helps this, he got some nice violin solos on it that really gives it a little bit. Surprise, Surprise. Classic sounding E Street Band, classic Bruce Springsteen, good track. The Last, Carnival, solid track, nothing wrong with this. And then we get The Wrestler, lovely song, great lyrics. It's an absolute belter of a song. This album has got some really good tracks on this, some nice writing from Bruce on this. The violins, I don't know why, ditch the violins, go back to the saxophone. I think the saxophone would sound a lot better than the violins, but I do love this album, and I'm going to give it an RTO ranking of 8.1. Okay then, coming in at number 9, we go way back to that debut album from 1973, Greetings from Asbury Park, New Jersey. Bruce Springsteen, Clarence Clemens, Vinnie Lopez, David Sanchez, Gary Talent, Richard Davis on the double bass, Harold Wheeler on the piano. First track, the classic Blinded by the Light. Love this track. Clarence, brilliant on this. Good track. Growing Up, it's a basic sound, little rock track. Just love that piano from David Sanchez. Whoa. Mary, Queen of Arkansas, classic track. Great story. Love that track. Does the Bus Stop at 82nd Street? Another of those great little, it's a very short track, but it's one of them story tracks. It's really good. Lost in the Flood, my favourite track. Again, it's just lovely words, just a great song. The Angel, love this. I love the double bass on this. Really adds to it. It's got even more boom than the bass guitar. Such a gentle song, but that double bass really adds to it. For You, another good song. Really nice. Spirit in the Night, brilliant work on the sax from Clem. Brilliant stuff. It's Hard to Be a Saint in the City, really good track again. It's got that really, already we got that classic sound. I love this album, always have. The lyrics are great, the stories behind the songs are great. Some great playing on here. Even at this very young age, you knew that this was going to be a superstar in the making. And I'm going to give this an RTO ranking of 8.3. Okay then, coming in at number 8, we have got the 20th and most current album. Released in 2020, A Letter to You. Again, the E Street Band are back since High Hope in 2014. So we've got Bruce Springsteen, Roy Britton, Neil Golfan, Patty, Mrs. Springsteen we'll call her because I've never pronounced the name, Gary Talent, Steve Van Zandt, Max Weinberg, and Jake Clemens, Clarence's son, on the saxophone, which was quite nice. By this time Clarence had sadly left us, so in comes Jake, his son, to take up the mantle. First track on this one is 1 Minute You're Here. Great little track. You know, as most of the singers now have been around for a long time, their voice changes, but what I like about this, they've just toned everything down and it just sounds great. A Letter to You, nice little rocker. Bruce sounds great on this, absolutely brilliant stuff. Burning Train, Jake's sax playing is good on this. It's a big pair of shoes to fill, your dad's, but he did a great job on that. It's a really nice song. Janie Needs a Shooter, solid track. Classic sounding E Street Band, really good. Last Man Standing, one of them story songs. Again, Jake's sax is great, brilliant. The Power of Prayer, great playing on by the E Street Band on this. Great vocal from Bruce, really good. House of a Thousand Guitars, another great track. Really nice guitar work on this. Rainmaker, it just sounds, it's come full circle. You listen to that first album and you listen to that, and different sort of technology, but the sound is still there. The backing vocals from Patty on this are great. If I Was a Priest, that piano's good, really excellent track. Ghosts, killer drums and Max. My favourite track on the album, it's just brilliant. That richness of Bruce Springsteen's deeper voice now, excellent track. Songs for All, Orphans, the signature harmonica that sounds really good. When you listen to this, it gets shivers down your spine. It's a really good song. I'll See You in My Dreams, strong track, good way to end the album. Really nice words on that one as well. This album's only been out 2 years, and it is in my top 10. It is the best album that he'd made in a long time. The musicianship by the E Street Band is good, some great lyrics. So I'm going to give this an RTO ranking of 8.4. Okay then, coming in at number 7. Go to 1992 now, on the 9th album. And this is Human Touch, and it's the same day they re-released 2 albums, Human Touch and Lucky Town. So on here, again, lots of people playing on it, so I won't go through the list. First track on here is Human Touch. I love this song. Love the melody to it. Fantastic song. Soul Driver. Great little track. Love the keyboard solo on this. Solid stuff. Then we get my favourite track on here, 57 Channels and Nothing. I just love the bass line. Just drives the song all the way through. And it's true. You get all these channels and you can't find anything to watch. Cross My Heart. Great bass line. Really drives this song along. Love that. Glorious Eyes, good little rocker track. Love the riff in this. Terrific. With Every Wish, probably the weakest track on the album. It's not a bad track, it just lacks substance. Roll of the Dice, Although the E Street Band are not on this, this is just that classic sounding Bruce Springsteen. I think it may have something to do with that Roy Bittan co-wrote it with Bruce. Real World again, co-wrote Springsteen and Bittan. Good track. Love that sort of tubular bell sound on it at the beginning of the track. Really good. All or Nothing at All. Great little Bruce Springsteen rocker. Plenty of energy. Great little track. Man's Job. Again, solid rocker. Nice crisp vocal from Bruce on that one. I Wish I Were Blind. Very, very... It's a sad song, but it sounds like Human Touch, sort of musically. The Long Goodbye, great rock track from Bruce. Love the riffs in this. Real Man, to me this is Glory Days Mark II. It's a really good song. And then we get Pony Boy. Again, what a way to end an album. A little song about cowboys. Although it's just Bruce on his acoustic guitar, I love the words. But what spoils it? Yes, that whiny harmonica. But I do love the song. A very good album. Play this one quite a lot. Remember getting these two on the day. Weird buying two albums on the same day by the same person. Never had done that. But so I'll give this an RTO ranking of 8.5. Okay, then coming in at number 6, it's the 10th album, and it's the other album that released on the same day as Human Touch in 1992, Lucky Town. This one opens up with Better Days. Great track. Classic Bruce Springsteen. Love that one. Then we get Lucky Town, my favourite track on this album. The guitar work on this is superb. I just love it. Local Hero. Again, that harmonica sort of lets it down in places. But it's a very, very catchy tune, and I really like it. If I should fall behind, the keyboard on this is great. Some lovely acoustic guitar work on this, and the bass line that sort of gels this song. Leap of Faith. Really good song. Very uplifting. Great vocal from Bruce. The Big Muddy. Love the guitars on this. You get that slide steel guitar sound on it at the root on this track. Really good. Living Proof. Classic little rock track from Bruce. Catchy tune. Nothing wrong with that one. Book of Dreams. It's okay. Not one of my favourites on the album though. Souls of the Departed. Another of those great tracks with them deep riffs. Something you'd expect the E Street Band to be playing, but it's not the E Street Band. It just sounds like them though. My Beautiful Reward. I love the keyboards in this. Gives you a little bit of extra. As I said, two great albums on one day. But I think this one edges it just a smidgen. So I'm going to give this an RTO ranking of 8.6. Okay, we've reached the top 5. Difficult, because all 5 of these albums I love. They swapped around about 3 times, some of them. So this is what we stuck with in the end, because I could have spent another, if I'd have done it anymore, it could have ended up being totally different. So we're going to go with this. So coming in at number 5, we've got the second album, released in 1973, The Wild, The Innocent and the E Street Shuffle. So we've got Bruce on here, Clarence, got Danny Federici, Gary Talent, Vinny Lopez on drums. First track, the E Street Shuffle. I've never been a fan of this. It's a bit weird. bit jazzy. Don't know what's going on there. 4th of July. Love this track. Some great lyrics from Bruce. Nice guitar work on this. Really good track. Kitty's Back, another classic. The sax from Clarence. Absolutely brilliant. Wild Billy's Circus Stories, one of those great little story songs from Bruce. Love it. Then we get my favourite track on here. So it's a classic track, The Incident on 57th Street. Some great drumming on this. It really is good, from Vinny Lopez. Great words to this. Just a great song all round. Then we get Rosalita, come out tonight. More classic. Bruce Springsteen. Great sax from Clarence. I love this track, and I love the bass line from Gary Talent. New York City Serenade. Now this is probably one of the longest tracks in the Springsteen catalogue. I like how it flows though. We've got bongos, piano, another great sax solo from the mighty Clarence. I think that's why this song does work, because it's got a good flow. And it's, you know, with some of his long songs, they sort of go round in circles. This doesn't. It just got a nice flow. Great way to end the album. This is just a brilliant album. Not a bad track on this one. I think it's got some of Clarence's best sax work. So I'm going to give this an RTO ranking of 8.9. Okay then, coming in at number 4, we've got the 7th album, the iconic album from 1984, Born in the USA. It's got the E Street Band on it, so we've got Bruce, Roy, Clarence, Danny, Gary, Steve and Max. Opens up, of course, with the iconic Born in the USA. I love this track. Very passionate, and the way Bruce sings on it. Very, very passionate. Then we get Cover Me. Love that catchy riff from Steve Van Damme. Brilliant. Darlington County. Love that opening riff. Some great drumming for Max. Love the cowbell. It's just very, very good track. Working on the Highway. Again, catchy. Great riffs. Great vocal from Bruce. Downbound Train. The bass line from Gary Talent. Brilliant. Love the bass line on this. Good little track. I'm on Fire. Great vocal from Bruce. Quirky little keyboards on this. Love it. Nice track. No Surrender. I know a lot of people like this. It's a track that I just really don't get. It's a little bit, I don't know how to describe it. I just don't like the sound of it. I know we can't like them all, but it's just not a track for me. Bobby Jean, another track that I particularly don't like. Sounds a little bit wishy-washy to me. I just don't like it. But I'm Going Down. I love this. I love that riff. And I love Max's drumming on this. It's terrific. Great track. Glory Days. Another good track. Love the riffs in this. And of course, Bruce came on at Glastonbury to sing with Paul McCartney this. And it was great to hear Paul and Bruce doing this. Brilliant track. Next track. Okay, Dancing in the Dark. Again, it's one of those tracks, if I never hear this again, I will never get upset. I don't like it. I've never liked it. this way, and this is one of them little gripes I have. When people say, oh, I love Bruce Springsteen, what's your favourite track? Dancing in the Dark. Because it's probably the only one you know. There's only one good thing about this song, and that's Clarence's sax solo. Cheesy video. There's nothing good about it at all. And then we get my favourite track, My Hometown. It's a lovely story. Now, I think this is a song that anybody can adapt to where they were born, and they can find something that connects them to their hometown. I mean, I'm lucky. I live in my hometown. I'm a Northampton born and bred. There's not many of us now, so some of the lyrics here I can relate to, and I think everyone does, and that's why it's my favourite track, because it's so everyone can relate to that one. I love this album because it's the first Bruce Springsteen album I brought. Although I'd heard another track off another album. When I brought this one, within a week I'd brought the album that contained that track, so we'll talk about that later. But I've got fond memories of buying this in '84 and playing it a ton. So I'm going to give this an RTO ranking of 9 out of 10. Okay then, coming in at number 3, we go to the fourth album from 1978, Darkness on the Edge of Town. Not the best cover in the world, is it? On here we got Bruce, of course, in the E Street Band. We've got Roy Bittan, Clarence Clements, Danny Federer, Gary Talent, Steve Van Zandt, and Max Weinberg. Badlands, love this track. One of the great openers on any Springsteen album. The piano work from Roy is brilliant. Max's drums is great. I do believe this may be the first album that Max played on. Brilliant stuff. Adam Ray's the Kane. Brilliant guitar work from both Bruce and Steve Van Zandt. Strong bass from Gary Talent. Brilliant stuff. Something in the Night, great track. Highlight of this is Roy's piano playing. Brilliant track. Great vocal from Bruce. Candy's Room, Max's drumming is brilliant on this, and you get a little bit of glockenspiel from Danny, and Bruce's guitar work on this is pretty cool. Then we get my favourite track on here, Racing in the Street. I just love this. I mean, obviously, the thing about this song, you've got this traditional, the original version, a nice, gentle version. But Roger Taylor did it on one of his albums, and he boofed it up. But it's still a great track. I love this version, the best version. And it's a long track, but it holds together. Then we get The Promised Land. Another classic track. A life story. Love it. Hopes and Dreams. He knows how to write a good song, as Bruce. Then we get Factory. Love the Hammond organ on this. Tells the story of a factory. I'm sure one of his relatives used to work in a factory. I don't know if it was his dad or what was it, but it's so personal. So personal, and it's brilliant. Streets of Fire. Great track. It's got a great solo on it. Love this track. Prove It All Night. Great little rocker here. Great saxophone solo from Clarence. One of his best. Terrific. Then we get Darkness on the Edge of Town. Oh, this is so eerie. Great lyric from Bruce. The drumming from Max really makes this so eerie. Yeah, I love that track. Fantastic track. Good way to end the album, of course. Solid album. Not a bad track on this at all. Play this a lot. So I'm going to give this an RTO ranking of 9.2. Number 2. This could have been my number 1. Woman 2, one of these. It's one of them artists that one week I think this is his best album, and then the next week I think it's still a great album. This is the 5th album. It's the double album released in 1980, The River. Bruce and the E Street Band. So it's Bruce, Roy, Clarence, Danny, Gary, Steve and Max. First track, The Ties That Bind. Classic Springsteen. A track with another gem of sax by Clarence. Fantastic. Sherry Darling. Again, Clarence is on the money. I love that feel that he gives to this track. Really gives it atmosphere. Jackson Cage, good rocker. Brilliant vocal from Bruce. Two Hearts, one of my favourite tracks on this album. It's a little short rocker. Really good. Independence Day. Nice gentle flowing track. Brilliant. Move on. Hungry Heart. Classic Springsteen track. Love the piano work on this from Mr. Bitton. Brilliant stuff. Out in the Street. Again, another classic. The bass line from Gary Talent is superb. Really drives the song. Crush on You. I always call this Bruce Springsteen Does the Rolling Stones. Got a great guitar solo on it. Great guitar playing by Steve and Bruce. Really work well together on that one. You Can Look, but you cannot. You better not touch. Great little rocker. Some great guitar work here from Bruce. Really good track. I Wanna Marry You. One of the weaker tracks on the whole album, but it's reasonable. Then we get the title track, The River. Love this. Even the harmonica doesn't sound whiny. Terrific track. Then we go on to side 3, Point Blank. Solid track. That's very good to listen to. Then we get my favourite track on this, Cadillac Ranch. Love the quirkiness of it. Love the rocky beat to it. Love this track. And of course the Quo did a cover of this in the same sort of vein. Brilliant track. I Am a Rocker. What a track. That opening riff. Nice piano and keyboard, and a great vocal from Bruce on that. Love that. Love that track. Fade Away. Love the acoustic guitar on this one. The keyboards are good as well. Stolen Car. Another one of them story songs from Bruce. The piano sounds good on it. Really good. Ramrod. Very catchy tune. Keyboard riffs are great solo from Clarence on the sax. The Price You Pay. Not one of my favourites. Then we get Drive All Night. Terrific track. Long track, but again it flows nicely. I love the piano and the keyboard work. You got that rusty keyboard sound. Very good. The drums all the way through from Max are terrific. 1 minute he's belting it, 1 minute he's being delicate. Very, very good track. Then we get Wreck on the Highway, the last track on the album, dominated by some lovely keyboard rig from Mr. Bitton and Gary Talent's bass line as well. Super song. A brilliant double album. A couple of songs on here that are not particularly fond of, but 90% of this album is solid, and I love playing this album. So I'm going to give this an RTO ranking of 9.3. So my number 1. The River and this one, which is from 1975, the third album, Born to Run, can flip, because they're all good. These two are brilliant. This is on here. We've got members of the E Street Band and others. I think Max plays on this, Steve does, but there's a whole list of people that plays on this one. Opens up with the brilliant Thunder Road. Just classic, isn't it? Love the harmonica on this. Just a great track. You get one classic and you go straight into another classic. The 10th Avenue Freeze Out. Just love that sax from Clarence on this. It is just mind-blowing. Then we get Night. Again, the guitar work. I know that Steve and Bruce on this, and Clarence. Superb track. Backstreets. This is one of my favourite slow tracks from Bruce. The keyboards are lovely. The sax is brilliant. That's a terrific track. Then we get the classic Born to Run. Yeah, Max plays on this, one of his finest drums with the E Street Band. Great track. Then we get this is probably my favourite track ever by Bruce. She's the One. Love that start. I love that piano. And then you get them bits of piano that keeps coming through the track. Comes in, goes out, comes in, goes out. It's just a brilliant track. I love playing that track. Meeting Across the River. Again, some lovely piano work on here from Roy Bittan, and the horns work well in this. And then we got some trumpet on here, played by a person called Randy Becker. Nice, delicate trumpet. Bit different, really good. And then another classic to end the album, Jungle Land. One of the longer tracks, but it's a classic. Steve and Bruce doing the guitar work, but the highlight of this is Clarence. The sax on this is just amazing, and this is a great way to end this great album. This was the second album I brought by Bruce Springsteen, and it became my favourite. And then I brought The River, and it keeps swapping. I think some of the performance from the members of the E Street Band on there, some of the best. Some of Max's best drumming. Again, it's got some of Clarence's best sax playing, and I think the vocals are on this. It's probably some of Bruce's best ever. Just a terrific album. And it's my number one today. Next week it may be my number two, who knows. But today I'm going to give this an RTO ranking of 9.5. So there we have it. The Boss. Just a great musician, songwriter. Okay, that's all for today, of course, because it's a big one. I'll be back tomorrow. Big day tomorrow, of course. Firstly, we've got Battle of the Debuts, and we're putting up two of the finest glam rock bands the UK ever produced. We have got Slade versus The Sweet. This was a tough one. Album artwork tomorrow. We're doing one of the best to worst. We haven't done that for a little while. So tomorrow's subject is a band that we covered doing their albums ranked, and that is Chrome, a band that I hadn't had much listening to, but one or two of their stuff's pretty good. So tomorrow we're going to look at their album artwork, and then tomorrow night 8 PM British summertime, the return of the live stream after an absence of since June. I think it was, the last one was just done before, yeah, because we didn't do one on Jubilee weekend, and that was the weekend I went down with Bell's palsy. So I'll remember the Jubilee weekend, won't I? So we're back up and running tomorrow. So join us 8 p.m. on YouTube at 8 p.m. as I said, British summertime. So I'll see you all tomorrow. Have a great day, everybody.